Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I Wrong and it's by user TA_coworker_X. Am I wrong? My wife wants me to reject a job offer because my ex works there. I, 36 male, have been having an argument with my wife regarding this issue for the past few days. I wanted some neutral opinions, especially from married women, on what you would do in this scenario. I work in the tech field and our research area is very niche. I had issues with my current company and started interviewing at different companies. At one of the companies, I ran into Amy, who I dated 14 years ago. We dated for 3 years and broke up amicably as I wanted to pursue further studies and she wanted me to settle down. I met my wife a year after our breakup and I was still friends with occasional benefits with Amy till then. I was upfront about the whole situation with my wife and she told me early on during our dating that my friendship with Amy bothers her. I loved my wife and was serious about us, and it was a no-brainer for me to stop hanging out with Amy. Amy was confused but understood why I did it. We have not spoken to each other since then. My wife and I have been married for 11 years now and have one super cute toddler. During the interview process, Amy was one of the interviewers and we had a nice professional discussion. I received a job offer from that company the very next week. I would be in middle management and Amy would be directly reporting to me. I have already informed the hiring manager regarding Amy and they seem to have no problems with it. I also have 2 more job offers and I negotiated with all the companies, and the first company, where Amy works, is willing to pay me almost $80,000 more than the other companies. However, my wife told me that I promised her that I would not be in touch with Amy many years ago, and she is asking me to take the offer from the company who is willing to offer the second most compensation. Her reasoning is it would be awkward for me to be Amy's manager, and since we both work in the same field, it is not like I can transfer her to another manager. She insists that it's not insecurity, but I made a promise. She says that it's finally my choice, but she does not feel comfortable with me managing Amy and working with her. I see her side, as I would have to travel with my team, including Amy, for a few days to an on-site location at least once a month. I can see why it would make my wife nervous. I personally want to join the first company as the compensation is higher and the experience in that company would be very valuable to me. Would I be wrong if I decided to go with the first company? It will offer my family a lot of financial security and would be good for my career. I do not want that taken away because of Amy. At the same time, I want my wife to be comfortable and not be constantly worried about the situation I will be putting her in. Well, OP, personally, I don't think it's a question of whether you are right or wrong. I think the question is, how much is the stability in your marriage worth to you? The way I see it, your wife is telling you she feels uncomfortable with something. She's setting a boundary. She's not forcing you not to take it. She's asking you to. She's not giving you an ultimatum or trying to manipulate you or guilt trip you into anything. At least, that's not how it feels like from the way you're presenting it. She's telling you that she would feel uncomfortable, but that it is your decision, which it is. If you take the job, you get the additional $80,000. But do you think that's not going to affect your marriage in any way? Unfortunately, we humans cannot rationalize feelings, no matter how evolved we say or think we are. Now, if I was in your shoes, I put my marriage over $80,000 and I'd go for the second option. Sure, people can call me whipped or whatever. I don't care. I appreciate my wife and the money will come. If you're in a niche and you're really good, the money will come. But honestly, when I come home from work, I'd rather have a lot of cool conversations about my work with my wife. And I don't want my wife thinking in the background or, being nervous about what Amy did or didn't do in that work day. And what would you guys do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Glass Intention 3979 says, I don't disagree with your reasoning on this issue. The only thing you should be thinking about here is the money worth ruining my marriage. Think about it. Your wife told you this is a problem for her, so you taking this job is going to cause issues in your relationship. Every day or every so often, your wife is going to bring this up. Resentment from your wife thinking she and her feelings don't matter, and the resentment you have towards your wife will fester. Arguments will happen and you both will suffer, and you know who else will? Your child. Children will see their parents not being happy. So is it worth it? Look, you did make a promise to not see this woman again, and I know it's been years, but it wasn't a clean breakup. You were friends with benefits before your wife. Nagging insecurities of life and marriage are going to creep in while you're away on site with this woman. I'm not suggesting you will ever cheat, or Amy will want it, or that your wife is insecure enough to think you will. But people are human. And to be fair, your wife is telling you not to do this, that she is uncomfortable with this. If you do this against her wishes and feelings, don't be surprised down the road if your marriage deteriorates beyond repair. So again, is this job worth it? Username ad says, quote, she insists that it's not insecurity, but I made a promise, end quote. Lol, it's insecurity, and yes, you made a promise, though 14 years is worth a revisit. Honestly, this is abstract. $80,000 is a lot of money that could do a lot of things for your family. Being in close proximity to an ex has a base level connection established. Traveling and socializing would require a lot of ongoing restraint on your part. Feelings could come up, and they're going to be difficult to deal with her directly reporting to you. The more I write about this, the more nervous I would be to have a partner involved in this. And Z Eldapin says, I couldn't imagine the drama that will unfold every time you have to take a work trip, take your direct reports to lunch, etc. Or the resentment that you will harbor for feeling forced to make a choice. I guess what it comes down to is what has more value to you, your relationship or $80,000. Justified insecurity or not, the job will cause issues in your relationship. Additional information from OP's comments. My wife also has a great job, but we work in polar opposite fields, tech versus medical. She's a doctor. We both have good careers, although it is a decent pay bump. The position is in software tech and management. It's not unique, but this company has subjectively the best offered compared to others. But it's not a life-changing amount of money for my wife or me. Hence, my wife feels this job is a lot more hassle than the money. Also, my wife did all the PI work and found out that Amy is divorced and has no kids. That was one of the reasons why she was a bit apprehensive about me taking the job too. I understand that part and also her concerns. However, this happened 14 years ago and is nothing but a faint memory in my mind. I already informed HR about the entanglement after I received the job offer. They said that they expect me to be professional, and since it happened over a decade ago, they are comfortable making the offer to me. I have no doubt I will be super professional, as my job will literally depend on that, but I am not sure I can control how my wife would feel. You can't. That's what makes this situation very confusing. I am inclined to go with my wife's happiness over an objectively better offer. However, it feels wrong to make the decision when I fully know I will be professional and maintain healthy boundaries. I also do not want to feel resentful towards my wife because I know where she is coming from. I think that if the situation were reversed, I would not have a problem. We are married for 11 years and together for 13. I know how much she loves me and our little world. So the community didn't judge OP to be wrong or not, but they did ask the same question: is your marriage worth $80,000? And from the additional context, considering he even said it wasn't life-changing money, then I'd think it isn't worth your partner's peace of mind. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I wanted to give a quick update. I posted a week ago regarding being confused about a job offer that my wife wanted me to reject because my ex, Amy, would be directly reporting to me. I know a lot of you pointed out why it is such a bad idea, but I want to be honest here. The reason why I wrote the post was to get ideas on how I can convince my wife that I should take the position. I felt that I have never given my wife a reason to not trust me, except one time, long story. And I should not be making important life decisions that benefit my family because of Amy, who I have not spoken to in 14 years. So, on Friday evening, we had a long discussion as my kid was at my sister-in-law's place for a play date. As many of you guys pointed out, my wife might be insecure with me hanging out with Amy specifically because we were friends with benefits after our breakup. I asked her about it and told her to be honest, as I would never make a decision without her being 100% on board. My wife said that out of all of my ex-girlfriends, she felt a bit insecure about her. The reason was because I did not get a clean breakup with her and had lingering feelings even when I met my wife. For context, when I met my wife through mutual friends, I was still friends with benefits with Amy for a few months after. However, I cleared things with Amy and broke up for good before I asked my wife on our first date. As a side note, I did not block Amy 14 years ago and did not contact her once. She is also not a wacko and respected my wishes and never messaged me during that time. I trust myself to stay away from her without being rude to her. Just because she is attractive and we had a dating history a long time ago is not a reason to go out of my way and block her to make her feel bad. Anyway, my wife had heard about how I was not able to get over Amy before that and only agreed to date me after I told her that I decided to go no contact with Amy. I asked my wife if she feels I will be less loyal to her if I'm around Amy. My wife and kid are everything to me, and I assured her that there is no circumstances where I would even think of stepping out of line to risk that. I also assured her that I will maintain professional boundaries with each of my direct reports, as I have been doing over the last many years, and Amy will be no different. However, if I miss out on this job opportunity because of Amy, I will always feel like irrespective of what I do, my wife does not 100% trust me. My wife said that she trusts me 100% and does not want me to feel like I am doing something wrong. She said she does not want to make some hypothetical scenario affect the important decisions I make in my career and is okay with me accepting the offer. She asked me to make sure that we set up specific rules about Amy, one of them being no communication outside work, maintain only strict professional communication, and always over-communicate with my wife about everything about Amy. Amy messaged me on Saturday about how it was great to see me during the interview process, and I immediately told my wife. Based on her idea, I replied back to her on LinkedIn and will make sure any of our communication stays there. I had until Monday to accept the offer. Yesterday, when I went to my office, I was planning to call the other company during lunchtime. However, my manager asked me to come to a meeting room to discuss something urgent. My current company knew that I was entertaining other offers, I had told them, and decided to match the offer from Amy's company. It is not exactly the same compensation, but it is only $20,000 less than their offer. Plus, they also assured me that they would promote me as soon as a director-level position opens up in one of the teams. It was amazing, and I called my wife. She was very happy, and of course, I decided to stay at my current job. Overall, I feel happy that I got a big raise at my current place and also know that my wife is not insecure and trusts me 100%. OP's edit. Since a lot of people are asking what the one thing was, it was stupid. Years ago, my wife's friend told me we kissed while drunk and I did not tell my wife. Her friend thought I was her husband and apologized a lot. I told my wife after a few days later out of guilt. My wife had seen the whole incident and laughed because I drunkenly pushed her away after she tried to kiss me, which I do not remember. But that was about it. She still teases me and her friend about it to this day. Well, OP, I think this is a happy update. You sat down with your wife, you guys communicated, put everything on the table, and came to a solution together. Now, even better is that you didn't have to do anything. You got a raise at your current company and a promise of a director position as soon as possible. So, on that note, here's wishing you both the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user Titans Front Row. Can't follow the rules at the dog park? I might not be able to fix it, but I can make it expensive. I regularly visit my local dog park with two of my dogs. We have a great neighborly relationship with several of the regulars, and it really is a highlight of my day to go to the dog park. I always make a joke that I'm going to just stop bringing the dogs at some point because I think I get more out of it than they do. My local dog park is easy and convenient for me to use, and it's even more convenient because my brother lives in the house that is next to the dog park. He has his grassed side yard being directly on the other side of the dog park parking lot. The dog park regularly runs out of parking spots, and there are clear signs on the edge of my brother's yard that says, "No parking on grass, vehicles will be towed at owner's expense." Well, due to this little familial perk, I have taken to just parking on his grass because my brother said I'm more than welcome to, and it keeps a spot open for others who may need it. This will be important later. So about 2 months ago, somebody new decided to begin using the dog park with their 2 chihuahuas, and they immediately broke 2 rules. First, they didn't leash in the area that is leashes only. Second, they brought their chihuahuas into the big dog area. I politely told this lady that she needed to take her chihuahuas out because they were snapping at several dogs, including my hound dog, who is not real smart. So my hound dog wasn't getting the message, and the chihuahuas were getting really aggressive to the point that one of them tried to bite my dog. She responded by telling me to F off. I left and went over to my brother's house and made sure my dog was okay. He was. This continued for several weeks, her dogs in the big dog area without leashes from the car to the gated area. But I was a little upset that even after calling the county, no one was holding this woman accountable to the rules. Finally, I decided to just change my schedule. So I staggered my time of going to the dog park, and I started getting there so I could leave when Chihuahua Lady arrived. She came at the same time every day. I did too. It isn't uncommon for people to have specific dog park times, and I was able to avoid most interaction, that is, except for the one I was looking forward to. So one morning, I had the boys leashed back up on the way out, and as we were walking to my car, there wasn't any parking available. I saw Chihuahua Lady pulling in. She was looking for a spot, and I said to her, "I guess you can park over on the grass once I leave." She says, "I didn't think that was allowed." I said, "Oh yeah, I park there all the time. Just wait for me to pull out and take the spot." She said, "Thanks, wow, I appreciate it." So I pulled out, I saw her pull in right behind me, and I called my brother, who works from home, and let him know that somebody had parked on his grass. I asked him to call up the tow company and have them towed, and ask them to come quick. He was a little puzzled as to the reason for the urgency, and I explained the situation and who this was. Well, he calls me back 20 minutes later and says that the car is hooked up to a wrecker and that there is an angry lady screeching at the tow truck driver, telling the tow truck driver that she sees people park there all the time. At this point, my brother went outside and explained that the only car that is ever there is his brother's. He said that his brother is the only one allowed to park there, and that he saw her pull in this morning when his brother left, directly behind him. The lady continued to scream, and the tow truck driver said, "If you pay the unhook fee of $300 and the owner agrees to it, you can just move your car." Well, my brother is a nice guy and figured my plan had gone far enough, so he agreed. The lady had to shell out $300 right there in front of him, and the tow truck driver unhooked her and took off. She looked at my brother and said, "Your brother is an a-hole," got her dogs in her car and drove off. And even though that lady still won't change her ways, at least I got to feel a little better about the situation. Well, OP, she didn't correct her behavior, but that's not the point. It's petty revenge, and that's exactly what you got. So thanks so much for sharing, OP, and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.